For me, the planning, the waiting, the anticipation, and the countdown, those are all part of the experience leading up to a Disney trip, and they're part of the excitement. So if you're like me, then this video is for you. I'm gonna give you lots of ideas to make the waiting time fun. Hey guys, I'm Jessica, and this is my second channel, Jess on Main Street. I just started it because I have all this useless Disney information in my head. It's kind of become my hobby, and I thought, you know, let me use this information, take the useless information and make it useful. So I decided to start a YouTube channel where I'm going to share tips and trips to help you have the best Disney trip possible, or just bring some of that Disney magic into your everyday life. And that is kind of what today's video is about. I want to give you 20 ways to build the excitement for your next Disney trip, or maybe your first Disney trip, or maybe you want to build the excitement for your kids. These ideas will work for all of that. Or I could have just titled this video, How to Kill Time Until You Leave for Your Disney Trip too. So these are in no particular order, but the first thing that I love to do when I'm looking forward to a trip to build the excitement, make time go a little faster, is to have some kind of a countdown. My husband got me this countdown block set. I think he found it on Etsy. It was a while ago. I probably don't have the link, but I'm sure if you look it up on Etsy, they have tons. But he bought me this for Christmas a few years ago, and it's been in our living room ever since. And there's just something about turning that block over every day and just knowing you're another day closer to your Disney trip. It really makes it exciting, and especially for the kids. My daughter loves to change the countdown too. Oh, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy like that either. Our first trip, we just made like a paper chain, and that was fun. But anything to kind of count down the days. I have an app on my phone too that I like to look at. Anything like that is going to be fun to see that every day you're a day closer to walking down Main Street. Number 2 is to have a Disney movie night. And you can even incorporate this with your countdown if you're super hardcore like me. When my oldest daughter was 4, we made a Disney movie countdown, and we started like probably 6 months before the trip. And I printed it out on my computer. I made, I counted down the weeks. We also had a daily countdown, but I had a weekly countdown. And every week I had a different picture of like a Disney movie, and we would pull it off, and that weekend we would have a movie night and watch that movie. Like I said, that's a little hardcore, but it really was fun because my daughter hadn't seen all of the Disney movies, and it kind of got her familiar with some of the characters or experiences that we were gonna, you know, see or meet at Disney World. So that was a lot of fun. I haven't done that since. That was a little too intense even for me, but it was really fun. Or, you know, you could just have a few movie nights like leading up to your trip. You can make it a big deal and make popcorn and snacks and turn all the lights off and get, you know, comfy blankets and pillows and just have a big movie night. But I would pick your movies strategically, especially if you have really little kids. Like my 2-year-old has seen a few Disney movies, but she's not familiar with a lot of the characters. So maybe pick your movies based on what is going to have an impact in the parks. Like Toy Story, for example, there's a whole land themed around Toy Story. So that's what my toddler is currently into. We're watching all the Toy Story movies all the time, which I'm not complaining about. They're some of my favorites, but you could do that. Or if you think you're gonna wanna meet a lot of the princesses, you could focus on some of those princess movies. Or like Winnie the Pooh, there's the Winnie the Pooh ride, lots of Winnie the Pooh characters you can meet. You know what I'm saying, things like that. Make it movies that are gonna improve your experience in the parks. Not just like some obscure movie like The Black Cauldron or something. Has anyone actually seen that movie? I never have, so side note, maybe I should watch that sometime, but anyway. Okay, number 3 is the gateway thing that got me into Disney, into being a Disney enthusiast, probably 8 years ago when we went on our first trip. And that is listening to podcasts. I used to have a really long commute, and I would just love to listen to podcasts on my 45-minute drive there and home. And I don't know how I stumbled on a Disney podcast, because I'd always been kind of interested in Disney. And it was, the first one I started listening to was the Be Our Guest podcast. Like I said, that was the gateway into my Disney hobby, I guess you could call it. And that one I highly recommend. They have so many episodes. They have like a couple thousand episodes. They share one on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday, they share trip reports. Wednesday, they share listener questions. And Friday are usually my favorite shows. They're just like random topics. And they do like live shows here and there too. They have a big running community that does Run Disney together called The Lizards. It's great. There's so much great info. I listened to hours and hours and hours of that podcast 8 years ago when I was planning our first trip, and they're still going strong, still doing all those episodes every single week. So highly recommend that one. Another one that I like to listen to is WDW Prep to Go. She does a lot of episodes where if she's on a Disney trip, she'll kind of check in each day and just recap the day, which I like to listen to. But mostly what she does are listener trip reports, but I like the format of hers. She does a big interview before the trip where the person she's interviewing tells all of their plans, really detailed. Some of her episodes are like 3 hours long. But I think they're good to listen to. There's a lot of useful info. So she'll interview them before the trip and they'll say, day by day, all of their plans. And then she interviews them a few days after the trip, and they kind of talk about, did things go as planned? And she goes day by day again. It's very detailed. And you can kind of see like expectations versus reality on your Disney trip. So those have been really, really entertaining, I think, because it's like real world experiences and also just really informational. And this next one I just recently found. I've been really just into trip reports lately, but this one is called Double Your WDW, kind of a tongue twister, but it's basically the host, Julie, just interviews people after their trips, and she breaks them up. So the episodes aren't usually more than an hour, but sometimes there's like a couple different parts, so they can be longer trip reports too. But I like the setup of that, and she's just really upbeat and sweet and funny, and I just like listening to those trip reports. That's been what I've been listening to mostly lately. If you're into Disney lists and a little bit of history, they call it listery too, just some fun facts about Disney, I recommend the 3028. They focus on like one subject each episode, and sometimes it's like something really small, like some small detail in the parks. I'm trying to think of an example. I know one time they did a whole show just on all the puns in Disney World, and just really fun topics like that. So it's not so much going to be information to help you in the parks, but if you're just looking for some fun Disney info to kill some time before your trip, that is a great one to listen to. And then this next one is kind of a newer podcast, and it's one of my favorites. It's called the Disneyville Podcast, and it's hosted by Tyler and Jessica Braun, and they both have YouTube channels too. Tyler Braun's channel has a bunch of Disney videos on it too, so recommend that as well. We'll get to YouTube videos later, but yeah, they only post they used to post every other Monday, and they're currently taking a little break, so I can't wait till they get back to it. So they don't have new episodes super often, but when they do, they're so great to listen to. They're hilarious. Like, I'm often laughing out loud. I just love their chemistry. They're so funny. And it's somehow just like really nostalgic too. Like, they talk about different things that they love in the parks, and just the way they describe it kind of makes me feel like I'm there. I love it. Highly recommend that one too. Okay, the number 4 way to get excited for your trip are play Disney board games. We have quite the collection because that ends up being what we get each other for like Christmas or birthdays, like me and my husband, because he's just as into Disney World as I am. It did not start out that way. I should share that story sometime, but now he's almost more into it than me. But anyway, that's a whole other story. So I have most of our collection here. So here are a few. So this first one I got it recently, and we have not played it yet. So we should change that. Maybe I should make a video reviewing this or something, because it looks super fun. But it's just called the Magical World of Disney Trivia. I have not played it yet, so can't really give a review on that, but It looks super fun. There's like a fun game board, and it looks like you have different questions you have to answer. So we definitely need to fix that. We need to play this sometime. This one we have played quite a bit. I've had this for quite a few years. It's called Pictopia, the Ultimate Picture Trivia Family Game. So you'll get a card with a picture, and then there's different questions about the pictures on the cards. So that one is fun. My daughter likes this one a lot too. You kind of have to be able to read to play it, but now that she's a little older, she likes it a lot. This next one is my daughter, my 10-year-old's favorite game, I think, and it's called Sketchy Tales, but it's the Disney version. I'm pretty sure they have this in like other versions, but this is the Disney version. So basically, you pick a picture card that has a character on it and an action card, and you have to draw the character doing that action. And they're like really thick, dry erase markers that are very difficult to draw with. So the drawings end up looking really hilarious and crazy. But anyway, then you pass your drawing to the next person, and the next person has to write a description of what is in your picture. Then they pass it on to the next person, who is only allowed to look at the description, and then they have to draw a picture based on that description. So it's kind of like telephone, but like on paper. And by the time it gets around the table, it's usually hilarious. We have laughed until we've cried playing this game, so highly recommend this one. It is so much fun. This one I got for the rest of the family for Christmas a couple years ago. I love the Haunted Mansion. I'm a huge Haunted Mansion buff. Favorite ride in Magic Kingdom anyway. So I was really excited about this game, and it's fun. It's got a lot of fun pieces. You can see it has like this stretching room and the hitchhiking ghosts and all those iconic things. But I will say the directions are very convoluted. It took us so long to just read the directions, and even longer to understand them. And by the time we got to playing, we were kind of like over it. So this one it's fun once you figure it out, but it's difficult to figure out. If you love the Haunted Mansion, it's a fun one. And then this last one is great if you have little kids. We got this one probably 8 years ago as a gift. I'm not sure they have this exact version at the parks anymore. It did come from the parks. It is Disney Candyland, and it is so adorable. The pieces are like little Mickey Mouses, and it has all the different iconic rides from Magic Kingdom and stuff. It is adorable. So if you have little kids that like Candyland, this one is fun. I'm sure they probably have something similar. So this just kind of gets you in the mood to be at Magic Kingdom, so this one's fun too. And that's the last game I have today. Another thing that got me really into Disney World when I was kind of just a casual Disney fan back in the day was watching YouTube videos about Disney World, mostly vlogs. I don't know if any of you have heard of the channel See Ya Real Soon, but I feel like they were like the original Disney vloggers, and I stumbled upon one of their videos, and I had been to the parks a few times, but like not for a while, not with our family yet. So I just started watching their videos, and it was so cool to see inside the parks. Like that was new back then to just see people going about their day in the parks, and I love them. I still recommend those videos. They're older. The parks are a lot different now, but love their videos. They're the sweetest people. So that's kind of what got me started into watching Disney videos on YouTube. But these days, here are a few channels that I'd highly recommend that you can binge watch their content, pretend you're there, and it also they give you lots of good tips along the way too. So I'm just gonna list them real quick. So my very favorite Disney YouTubers right now are the Mammoth Club. It's 3 friends, Molly, Alan, and Max, and they go to the parks all the time. They go to Disney World and Disneyland. They recently went to Tokyo Disneyland, so lots of fun content. But their video ideas are just so creative and different. They do this series called Winner Picks Dinner, and they'll go to the parks and do a game of rock, paper, scissors, and whoever wins gets to pick what they eat for each course, or for that course of the meal, and they kind of go through the whole meal. That's just one example, but they just have really creative video ideas. They're one that as soon as I see that they've posted a new video, I'm clicking on it right away. Love their videos. DFB Guide is a great channel to watch if you want more information about the parks, and specifically food. DFB stands for Disney Food Blog. I feel like they used to mostly focus on food, but now they've kind of expanded on to just tips for the parks in general. But there's so much information. I'm pretty sure she puts a video out every day or almost every day. So, I mean, you could just go through and watch hours and hours and hours of information, especially if you're interested in food. I would highly recommend that. I had mentioned before Tyler Braun from the Disneyville podcast. He has a travel channel and he posts a lot of Disney videos on there. And Jessica Braun his wife has a channel too, but hers is not as focused on Disney, but I love her channel as well. Side note. Oh, and another one of the like OG Disney YouTubers is the Tim Tracker. I feel like everybody probably has already heard of him, but he and his family live in Orlando and they post a lot of content about the Disney parks as well as other things in Orlando. They do a lot of home vlogs too, so just kind of one of your original Disney YouTubers. I highly recommend them too. I think their family is super sweet. And the next channel is kind of more interesting if you're into the history of things, which I totally am. I want to get as much info about the history as I can. This channel is called Defunctland, and it's basically his videos are basically like little documentaries. Some of them are even like feature-length documentaries. And they're all about different attractions that have closed around the parks. He used to do videos more often and they were a little shorter. And these days he like really takes months and months to put out a video, and he puts so much time into it. It's like amazing. So if you're interested in the history of some of the attractions that have closed, that is a great channel to watch. And then specifically if you're a mom of little kids, I have two channels that I watch all the time. Again, as soon as they post a video, I am clicking on it because they're fun and they have such great info about bringing your kids to the parks. And those are Ashley Wright from Pixie Dusted Mom. She releases so many videos. She goes to Disney all the time. She's one that is not living in Orlando. I believe she lives in Tennessee, but they go all the time. And I don't know, there's something fun to me about somebody that is not a local going to the parks, like me. I like to watch, both types, but it's just fun to watch somebody looking forward to a trip like we're talking about today, and then planning and getting ready for the flight and the stay and all that stuff. So anyway, love her videos. And then also, and I think they're actually in real life friends because I think they live close to each other, but the other one is Becca Hart, and she has a preschooler and she posts a lot of content about bringing little kids to Disney as well. So that has been super helpful because going to Disney is difficult on its own. Bringing little kids to Disney is like a whole nother level of difficult. So lots of good info on those channels. All right, I feel like I spent a really long time talking about podcasts and YouTube channels because those are some of the best ways, I think, to get excited for your trip. But I'll try to go through the rest of these a little bit quicker. So number 6 is to research your dining options and plan your dining. So there's so much that goes into dining at Disney World. There are quick service restaurants, table service restaurants, snacks. Now we have the Disney dining plan to think about. There's so many great restaurants. So go to DFB Guide on YouTube, like I talked about, or there's tons of websites or social media pages that you can go to and get tons of info, find out the good restaurants, find out the ones that are going to interest you, and plan a few places that you want to go. It's kind of fun to plan the food because the food is a big part of a Disney trip. Going along with dining, you could also make a Disney snack or a Disney meal. So that could be something like something you've seen in the parks, like maybe you want to try to make a Dole Whip, or some kind of famous food that you like to eat at Disney or think you would like to eat at Disney. They make Disney cookbooks, like Disney Parks cookbooks. You can find recipes online that are copycat recipes, or if you just want to make something Mickey shaped, that'll get your kids excited. I made some Mickey shaped cupcakes for my daughter for her 2nd birthday, and that was a big hit. So making food, or even like we have a little Mickey waffle iron, so you could make Mickey shaped waffles too. So just little details like that can get you excited for the trip. Number 8 is something else that you can watch to get you ready for your trip, and that is the Imagineering story on Disney Plus. It's all about the history of the Disney parks, and it's just really well done. It starts out way in the past, and kind of the episodes kind of get more and more current until we're to the present day. And it's not too long. I think there are maybe like 10 episodes. But that can give you, if you know the history, it really can give you an appreciation for what you're seeing and experiencing on your trip. So I highly recommend that. Number 9 is do a Disney puzzle. So pretty self-explanatory there. You can find at Walmart, they have tons of like Thomas Kincaid Disney puzzles, or other brands too. Or you can go to Shop Disney and they have some more like parks focused Disney puzzles. I bought one there a couple years ago. That's probably my favorite puzzle. I love it. But that can help you get excited for your trip. Number 10, we're halfway there. Number 10 is to make a Disney Parks playlist that you can listen to in the car, or, you know, whenever you want to listen to music. We have one that we have a bunch of our favorite songs, like our family's favorite songs from the Disney movies. And then we also have some songs on there that are based around the Disney rides, like the Haunted Mansion song, the Pirates of the Caribbean song, Small World, which usually gets skipped because everyone thinks that song is annoying. But it's funny because we'll be in the car and like the Haunted Mansion song will come on, and I'll say, maybe the next time we hear this song, we'll be on the ride, and it gets everybody really excited. Okay, the next one is to play a Disney trivia game, and I have a specific one that our family likes. It's actually on YouTube again. I believe it's the Inside the Magic channel. I will link it below. But I'm not sure how often they post them, but they post Disney Jeopardy. And it takes us like probably a half hour or so to play a game of it. But he just goes through, and it's just like a game of Jeopardy, and we write our answers down. My husband and I and our oldest daughter like to play this together sometime, but it'll test your Disney knowledge, and everybody likes a friendly competition with your family members. The next one is to plan your outfits or your clothes for Disney. Now, you do not have to have Disney themed outfits at Disney World, but if you want to, it can be super fun too, especially for your kids. So I like to go through every park day and kind of, especially for my kids, pick an outfit that's kind of themed to that park each day. There's so many cute, just like tons and tons of cute clothing brands on Etsy. You can get funny shirts for yourself, or really, really cute stuff for your kids. So that can be fun too, to plan those outfits. Okay, the next one is something that you kind of do just gradually leading up to your trip, and that is to start what I call a Disney box. So I will collect things along the way, like months and months in advance. For example, I was at Walmart the other day, and they had this really adorable mini dress that I thought my toddler would look so cute in. So I bought that, and I'm just gonna put it in my Disney box because it's a size too big. It's not going to fit her until we go anyway. So things that you're collecting specifically for your trip, you can keep in that box. And as you add more and more to it, the excitement kind of builds as you imagine yourself using these things in the parks. Can you tell these are the things that like get me through the wait? Number 14 is something that you're probably going to want to do if you have never been to Disney World before, and that is to go onto the Disney website and explore the different rides and attractions and experiences. And that way you can be looking, because like I said in one of my other videos, there's too much to do at Disney for you to do it all in one trip unless you're there for like 2 weeks. I also think it's a good idea for everybody in your family to kind of write down 3 things at each park that they want to experience. So that way you kind of know what everybody's priorities are, and you can make sure you're trying to hit some that are important to everybody on your trip. You could even make a family night of it, like where everybody looks at the different attractions at the parks, and you could all make your list together and talk about it. That could be super fun. The next thing you could do is to read a Disney book, whether that is for your kids. I shared last week some Little Golden books I had gotten my toddler to read to her before her trip so she could get excited. My 10-year-old also has some chapter books that are, it's kind of the different stories of the fairy tales, but from the villain's perspective. She hasn't actually finished any yet, but they look really fun. Or Like I personally have some like different coffee table books. I have a book of all the old Disney maps and just random Disney history, that type of thing. That can be exciting to lead up to the trip. And also, especially if you're reading a book about like the history or things like that, it can give you more of an appreciation for the background of the park once you're there. Number 16 is something we end up doing every couple of years, and that is going to Disney on Ice. And that's a way to, you know, kind of see some of the characters from a distance and get some of that Disney magic between trips. We went this past year, and I will say, I remember when I was little, the Disney on Ice shows would be like, the show would be like one movie. Like you would go see Beauty and the Beast on ice or Aladdin on ice or whatever. Then when my 10-year-old was younger, it would be like little snippets from a few movies. And this year I feel like it was just like, here's a song from this movie and that movie. And it was just like jumping all around, and all the acts were only a few minutes long. And I feel like we're catering to the TikTok generation, but nobody asked for a review of Disney on Ice. So anyway, let's move on. But yeah, my kids did not care. They thought it was wonderful and they loved it, especially the toddler. And this next one is one that my daughter enjoys more because I'm not like a video game girly. I like Animal Crossing, but that's about the only game that I even know how to play. Oh, and Mario Kart. But anyway, she likes to play Disney Dreamlight Valley. And you have just like these different missions and different things that you can do. You have your own little house that you can decorate, and it's all Disney themed, and parts of it look like the Disney parks. She really enjoys that game, so recommend that one too. I've actually heard it compared to Animal Crossing, so maybe I should try to play it too. Number 18 is one that's going to be big if you have kids, and that is to be looking for and buying activities to do while you're on your trip. So I'm talking about things that will kill time on the plane or while you're waiting for a ride, or different things like that, whether it's little toys or coloring books or glow sticks, things like that. I always think it's fun when I am shopping just to be kind of thinking about that in the back of my mind. And places like the Dollar Spot at Target or Dollar Tree are great for these little activities. And then you can just put them in your Disney box. And then when you go to Disney, you have all these new activities that your kids have not done yet, and they'll love it. Okay, we're almost there. Number 19 is to make your packing list and to go shopping for the things that you're gonna need. This is obviously something you're gonna do closer to your trip. And maybe I'm a nerd, but there's not much that can make me more excited than making a packing list for Disney and knowing I'm gonna be there in a matter of like weeks or days. And I don't know, maybe I'm weird that I make a packing list and literally list everything that I'm gonna bring. I'm very scatterbrained, so if I don't plan and write it down, I will forget things. But yeah, I think that's always a good idea to make a packing list, and it can be really fun. And you can get your kids to help too. My 10-year-old loves to help me pack for trips. Okay, we've made it to number 20. If you've watched all the way to number 20, then thank you guys so much for watching. I feel like this has gotten kind of long-winded. I have a hard time cutting things down and saying them quickly, if you can't tell. Number 20 is kind of works better if you've been to the parks, but it is to relive your past Disney memories. So whether that is choosing to use a mug that you got at the Disney parks for your morning coffee, which I often do, that can just bring you a little bit of joy thinking about those past times and that nostalgia, or whether it's looking at pictures from your past trips or looking through, I love looking through our autograph books. I was talking about this in my Taking Toddlers to Disney video. I have autograph books that have the autograph and then the picture, all on the same spread, on the same page. And I love looking through those. My toddler loves looking through those too, and that's getting her excited for the trip too, seeing her bigger sister in all these pictures. But yeah, that's probably my number one thing that I love to do when looking forward to my next trip, is thinking about all the fun memories I made on my last trip. So I hope that you can use some of these ideas to build the excitement or kill time to make it go faster before your trip, because for me, the experience of a Disney trip is like so much more than just the trip. And you can make it that way too. You can make it a whole experience for your family while you're waiting for the trip too, and even after the trip too. Maybe I should make a video of how to get rid of the Disney blues, although that would probably be kind of the same list as this. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to be sharing a lot more tips and tricks about, I always get tongue-tied when I say that, tips and tricks about Disney World. I am in the process right now of sharing some vlogs that I took when my husband and I went on an anniversary trip this past summer. So if that interests you, make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to be sharing a lot more videos like that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have the best Disney trip.